Recently, Justin Lum acquired the video interviews of Lori, Alex, Tylee on the day of Charles' murder, but he also acquired Zulema, Melanie Gibb, and Jason Mao being interviewed by the Chandler Police Department. Recently, these are from 2021. I want to dissect them. I'm going to start with Zulema. I haven't even gotten through the Melanie Gibb one, but there's a lot to dissect there. But right now, did Alex plan on killing Zulema? Pretty interesting when you listen to what she has to say. Is she CYA, trying to make herself look like a victim? Or did Alex intend on killing Zulema? There's a lot in her interview that's pretty interesting. Welcome to Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. I'm Kathryn. Hi and welcome back. You'll have to excuse me, I do have a little cold after traveling. I have a little bit congestion cold going on. I feel fine, it just sounds a little stuffy. So let's get into the Zulema interview.
I've got a 10:30 conference call I gotta make.
Okay.
And so we'll see how things are going here. I may just step out.
Okay.
And
No big deal.
Yeah.
Oh. Are you tired of meeting with us yet?
She refers to all this digging into her as stirring things up, making her have to relive it in a way, like the dirt on an aquarium.
That's okay. Yeah.
It's not about being tired about meeting with you guys. It's kind of like I think of it in my mind. It's like an aquarium, and when you go your hand on the bottom, and then all of a sudden all this stuff comes up. So it's the stuff that comes up.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Brings up
all kinds of stuff, and
Yeah.
doubt and memories and and connections, and then you like
Yeah. No, I get it.
And then you just like start beating yourself up because how could I ever done anything like this or get involved with people like this, and how could I be received so much, and how could I be so stupid?
Well, don't beat yourself up.
All that comes up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the hard part of it.
And hopefully this is the last time that we have to talk.
And there's a whole lot of talking about the weather. We don't care about the weather. Yes, it's hot in Arizona. Yes, there's a baseball team there. Yada, yada, yada. If you want to see the whole interview with her, I have put the link in the description below.
But we just needed to go over a couple more things, just some clarifying questions, since we've been doing the investigation that have kind of come up again.
Okay.
Okay? Do you need water or anything, or are you good?
I'm okay.
Okay. You remember Vince?
I hope so. Fremont County.
Fremont
That
County.
was a nice one.
I do.
So how's everything been going? You getting back to normal life and back on track? And
Trying to, once in a while something comes up, or some reporter comes up, or
Or you get a call from Garrett saying, hey, these guys want to talk to you.
yeah, or like usually it's reporters that are reaching out to people to get information about me, and talk to the media. So they're always trying to get some kind of info.
they're still trying, huh?
They start out by telling Zulema there's a lot of discrepancies in what she told Gilbert PD and what she's told them.
So Zulema, as we've been going over things, we've been going over reports that you have given to Gilbert initially with Alex's death. And some of those statements that you gave them don't match what you gave us the last time we talked. So I just wanted to clarify kind of why you told them something completely different. Okay? So when I was discussing last time with you, about.
Was this the day that Alex died? Is that what you're talking about?
The day Alex died. So do you remember anything that you told those guys as far as Lori and Chad? Or
Very, very little. I don't remember much of what happened. To tell you the truth, there is a part of like between like 2 weeks there that there isn't much. It's very foggy for me. But that night specifically, there are certain things that I remember, but not all of it. And I don't remember, like I can't put a timeline together. Like I don't know what happened first and what happened next. I don't know which one was first and which one was second. I really don't. I've been trying to put it together, but I haven't been able to.
We've also never seen what, statements she's purported to have made, so.
Now remember, we did have body cam footage, conversation, a lot redacted, of Zulema talking to the Gilbert PD. And she was kind of snooty and snotty that day when she said, my children, and I don't want to leave my house and all that. Go back. That is in my previous videos. And it would be interesting to compare and contrast this with that. But right now, we're looking at this one.
we're just trying to eliminate some of the things maybe defense for Lori and Chad are going to bring up during trial.
Now, the police officer is trying to tell her, part of what the defense could do if you're not truthful with us is they could try to pin a lot of this on you, other people, meaning her, meaning Melanie Gibb, meaning other people that were in their circle. So he's trying to get her to come clean so that the defense doesn't try to point fingers at them, which we know that Mark Means has been doing that from the get-go. He is trying to throw Melanie Gibb under the bus, but we will get to her later. Right now, we're watching Zulema.
And part of that defense could be that they try to pin this on other people, right? So, or make you not look as credible as what you are in case you have to testify.
Mhm.
So in order for us to make you look credible and to use what you say in court, we want to kind of jump out ahead of any type of defense that they're going to bring up and try to make it look like you are lying or trying to get back at them or something like that. So in going over these reports, that's kind of what we are doing to make sure that everything that you told us kind of matches what has happened, right? And so when we were going over Gilbert's reports, there's some things in there that you said that you told us about when you last talked to Chad and Lori, and about when you, well, I'll just come out and ask you. You told Gilbert that you had no idea how to get a hold of Lori and Chad when they asked you who Alex was on the phone with. Can you tell me why you told him that?
I wonder why I would have said something like that, because I told them that they were on the phone with him.
Right, and they asked you how to get a hold of him. And in your statement, you said you had only met Lori a couple of times before she moved.
And the police officer goes to tell them, in the Gilbert reports, you act like you really didn't even know Lori. You only met her a couple times. But in the meantime, you're getting these text messages that she's saying, come to Hawaii. So.
And you hadn't seen Lori since she moved a few months ago, and you didn't think Lori was married.
Yeah, I don't remember saying that.
Well, let's look at those statements.
Yeah.
And when I say look at them, just look at them carefully there for a second. You didn't think Lori was married, right? Did you know she was married at that point?
Yeah, I did know that
Okay.
she was married.
Okay.
Yeah, because she had sent me pictures of when she had gotten married.
Okay.
So yeah, I did know that.
And
I mean,
do you-
I didn't, let me put it this way, I saw the pictures of them on the beach, her dressed in white, him dressed in white, and they were dancing and kissing and all
right,
of
seen
that.
those, we've seen all the pictures, yeah.
Right, so I assumed, it was assumed that that was a
Okay.
wedding ceremony.
When you told them, what else did she say in that statement, that she hadn't talked to him in a while? What was that statement about?
That you had only met Lori a few times,
Well, obviously, that's inconsistent with what she told you guys.
that you hadn't seen her since she moved a few months ago, and that you didn't think Lori was married.
What's the timing on hadn't seen her since she left a few months ago? Is there any explanation of that? Was there any timeline on that? Was there any clarification of what that
Well, we
meant?
know Zulema had gone up there,
Right.
so she's saying that since she moved.
I wonder if she's talking about since they moved to Idaho or to Hawaii. That's what I'm wondering about. She hadn't seen him since they moved to Hawaii.
Well, that could be.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
That could be, but she said that she didn't know what state Lori and Chad lived in. So those are the type of things that defense is really gonna probably ask you.
So I didn't, when they left Rexburg, they didn't tell anybody where they were going. Not even, even Alex was trying to find out where they were at, and he had asked them.
So Zulema says she didn't know where they were. She found out that they were in Hawaii when they were on the news.
Where they were at, and they wouldn't disclose where they were at. They didn't.
So you had no idea they were in Hawaii?
No.
What about the times you guys conference called?
When we were talking on the phone, they wouldn't say where they were at. So when they left from Rexburg, they didn't disclose where they were at. How I found out that they were there is when they were on the news.
Okay. Because there's some, so back in the reports, I don't know if I have that with me. They had talked to you and Melanie Boudreau about going to Hawaii after they were married. Is that not true?
This was when I can't remember when he was. I remember them saying that. So hold on, let me see if I can put a timeline on that.
Our timeline that we have has that roughly in November. And then they go missing in December, November 26th.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had some conference calls with him the first week or the first week of December.
Mm-hmm.
You and Alex and Melanie Boudreau.
Mm-hmm.
There's some really interesting information here where they're really trying to pinpoint why they were having conference calls with Zulema. Lori and Chad would call into Zulema, and Zulema would reach out and call other people and conference them in. There's a lot of shady stuff that went on, in my opinion, with the phone situations.
And Ian was on the phone. And so I'm wondering, based on all that, and then
Yeah,
the
this one.
statements to Gilbert.
So she said, this could be you, come to Hawaii.
What
day
was that?
That was on November 9th. This was
Okay.
the day that they sent this,
The pictures.
the pictures.
Uh-huh.
And
Who
that,
sent that to you, Chad or Lori?
I think this was Lori's.
Okay.
And she sent it to me and Alex.
Do you have that number?
Yes. Where is it? I just lost it. This one.
Those phones can be a
I
pain.
don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, fine. I don't know if I'm the number there, it might be right there.
Maybe.
No,
It should be there.
it is.
2 participants. Okay, so that one was from 480-692-9562. And I remember this, I responded to her with a scripture. Because they were still trying to convince me to move.
To be clear, they didn't tell you they were living there yet, right? I mean,
No.
this was them for a wedding. They came back after this, right?
They came back after this.
And then it was long around Thanksgiving that they vanished.
Right before
And
Thanksgiving.
is that when you didn't know where they went?
That's when I didn't know where they went, yes.
So when she's saying come to Hawaii, it wasn't, hey, we're living here, come move to Hawaii with us.
But I believe they had conversations saying that after they got married, they were moving to Hawaii.
With Zulema?
And Melanie Boudreaux.
Okay. No, I don't know about Melanie, but
And so that's why I was wondering, when it comes to the Gilbert reports, you say you have no idea where they're at or how to get a hold of Lori, or you've only met Lori a couple times. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Where there's a discrepancy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why we want to talk about that, and I wanted to know why you had told Gilbert police that you kind of really didn't know Lori or where she was at.
Her lawyer interrupts and says, well, we made a deal with you that we were here to tell the truth. So what she's saying here is the truth.
you know, and before I don't want you answering something about having potentially misled Gilbert Police Department until I hear the statement. I think what she's told you guys is the truth.
Right.
And that's what the agreement was, is that she was gonna come in and tell you guys the truth. So, there's a discrepancy between the two. Clearly.
Right, and that's why we're trying to get out in front of it just before trial.
Right, sure.
We just want to figure out if you in fact did make that statement, and if you did, why you made that statement.
Do you remember making that statement? Okay.
So then she goes into the night that Alex died and what goes on there.
I don't remember. I remember going to the hospital. I remember them putting me in a ambulance, and they took Alex in another ambulance. And I remember them taking us to the hospital. And I remember they started working with him, and then they put me in a room. And I don't remember much of what happened between that and until the time that they brought me back to the room for me to turn off the machines.
I've always been really suspicious about this night. I just can't put my finger on it, but I'm super suspicious about the day that Alex died.
For him. I don't remember when I was taken back there. I don't remember whether the person that came to talk to me, was it before or after that? I don't remember, and I can't put it together. I can't not put it together.
Okay.
I don't even remember the name of the person that was there. I don't even remember what he looks like. So if I was to see him right now, I wouldn't even recognize him. I have no idea. There's nothing right there.
And they told her she can't touch Alex because Alex is considered a crime scene.
Then I remember when I turned off the machines, they told me, I remember somebody came saying that I couldn't touch him anymore, that he was considered a crime scene, and that I needed to leave. I asked for a couple of minutes with him. They gave me I don't know how long, but they gave me a few moments with him. And I remember coming out of the room, and my son-in-law came. And I remember him saying to somebody who was there, we're going to get a lawyer right now, so speak to our lawyer. And then I remember leaving. That's, but I don't remember when that happened. You know what I mean? There's no correlation there for me. None of it.
I'm gonna time right now, 'cause I'm gonna make that call.
Okay. Okay.
Let me do that, and then I'll come back in as soon as I can. You guys feel free to chat about anything other than this, and I'll be right back, because I'm just gonna, we're gonna.
Then Garrett Smith has to step out for like forever. All they do is talk about the weather and yada yada. Nothing exciting. He says you can talk about anything but this, and he leaves.
Never missed one call from her, so let me go do that, and I'll be right back, okay?
Have you been to Rexburg or Idaho since?
No.
It's getting to be nice up there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Last time I was there was cold.
Yeah, it's cold, like,
It was cold for me anyways.
it seems like it's cold for 8 months out of the year, but.
Yeah.
And then Zulema's attorney comes back, and they still talk about the baseball stadium and all that there in Arizona.
Yeah, the bird was good.
Anyway, interesting.
There's still, we saw a lot of Randy Johnson jerseys still.
Well, he was a freak.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a freak. In the very best sense of the term. This big, tall guy that had a lefty throw. I mean, oh my word. That slider he had, ugly.
Yeah, we had a good time.
That's fun. What'd you eat?
Hot dog,
And
Chicken nugget dog?
wings, yeah.
Good, fun.
That's good.
Where were your seats? Where were you?
135.
I don't know where that is, man.
Right
Third
down,
base, right there.
third base.
Now, here's where it starts to get a little bit interesting. Apparently, Alex told Zulema a couple days before he died that there was a bag of cash for her in the closet. The police officer here, the detective, pushes her really hard about what else was in that bag. Listen.
So let's talk about the bag of cash that Alex gave you. Do you remember when he gave that to you?
He didn't necessarily give it to me. He just a couple of days before he passed. I don't know if it was like 1 day or 2 days before he passed. He said to me, Zulema, if anything happens to me, I want you to know that there is money in a bag in the closet, and it's for you. He said it's not much, but it's for you.
Okay. And did you ever count the money that was in there? Or know how much was in there?
Well, when before he passed away, no, because I just said whatever, you know what I mean? I wasn't gonna touch his money. But after he passed away, I asked the police to bring it down, and my daughter and her boyfriend started counting it. They did.
And how much was in there?
I think that there must have been about probably between $5,000 and $7,000 or something like that.
Okay. Do you remember what else was in the bag?
I still have the bag.
Do you still have everything that was in it?
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was?
It was a bag. He had it in a plastic bag, like a Ziploc bag. And
Sure, the money was in a Ziploc bag?
Mhm.
In another bag?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what else is in there? I've looked through that thing like I don't know how many times, and now for the life of me I can't remember what's in there. There might have been a pair of headphones in there. I don't know. I can look in there, take a look, tell you what's in there.
You take anything out of it?
Probably. I mean, I took the bag out. You know what I mean? And I took the headphones out because I started using. I'm like, what if these are the good headphones? And I started using them.
Did you take anything else out of it?
It's possible. I wasn't paying attention, to tell you the truth. Was I supposed to be looking for something?
No, I'm wondering, because we had reports there was some other things in there,
Yeah,
and
like what?
like there was a gun associated with the bag of money.
Oh, okay. That's what you're asking for? You're asking for the guns, but the guns were in separate bags.
With,
Not in the same bag of not in the bag of money. The bag of money was, it's like a black duffel bag type thing with a zipper.
Okay.
And then there's the guns that he left, they have their own
Case.
case. And they have, it's like a case, like a gun case, and then the gun goes in one thing, and then it has the clips, and
so just so I understand, the gun case was with the bag of money,
next.
but not inside the bag.
I don't think so. No.
And just so I'm clear, the bag of money was in a Ziploc bag inside of another bag.
Yes.
And that the gun was not inside the bag with the money, nor was it inside the bag that the money was in. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, it has its own.
Okay.
Its own
Separate. Okay.
separate bag with a ziploc, a zipper that goes around like that. So when you open it like a book.
Okay, so in the duffel bag that the money was in, what else was in the duffel bag? Let me ask you this, was there a phone in the duffel bag?
Yeah, I think that's where they found the phone, because they took it. They took a phone.
Who? The
The
police?
Gilbert police took a phone that was in there. Because it's in the inventory that they left. When they take things, they give you an inventory of what they take or whatever, that there was, they said that there was a phone. It's possible that they found it in there, but I don't know where they found it, to tell you the truth. But they said that they did take that phone.
Take a phone?
A phone.
Okay.
Mhm.
You don't know where they got it from?
It's possible that was in there, yeah.
It could have been in Alex's pocket. That's what they got.
Well, Alex didn't have any clothes on so.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
flip about it. Maybe it could have been somewhere else.
It's possible.
So you don't remember anything else? Did you ever go through the bag before your kids did?
No.
And so when Alex gave you that bag or told you if anything ever happens to me, did you ask him like, why would anything ever happen to you? Was that an odd statement that he had made?
I did. I said, why? I said, don't say things like that, Alex. I said, why would you say something like that? And then he said, just in case. Just in case. That's why the reason why I in my back of my mind, I was thinking, did he do something to himself? Why was he saying that 2 days before he passed?
So he tells you about the bag and says, if anything ever happens to me, there's some money in the bag. It's not much, but there's some money in the bag. And that was 2 days before.
Yeah, either the day before or either the day before he passed or the day prior to that. So in the last 2 days that he was alive.
Okay.
Zulema even brings up that she asked Alex if he had anything to do with any of this. And the police officer points out that that's kind of a weird thing to say.
And then, so when you had let's go back to the conversation that you had with Alex when Tammy's body is being exhumed. Do you remember that conversation where you said you had confronted him and said, Alex, are you going to have anything to do with this? Why would you think that he may have something to do with it?
So Lori and Chad had called that day, and they were the ones that told us that they were exhuming her.
And then they talk about the fact that day that Chad and Lori had called and mentioned that Tammy's body was being exhumed. And remember, Alex dies the next day.
Her body. And the way they were talking, they weren't really saying anything like, oh, we're worried or anything like that. It was more of like a feeling that I had that was like, this is really weird. Like, shouldn't they be like having this kind of reaction type of thing? You know, not like so nonchalantly, oh, they're exhuming her body today type of thing. And I was like, why are they so not nonchalantly about it? Like, if are they hiding something? Did they do something? Did they not do something? And so that's why I wanted to. I knew that if I asked Lori and Chad about anything, they probably wouldn't say anything. But I thought that if they had been doing something, he had done anything, Alex would probably tell me. So that's why I pressured him. I'm like, would you have anything to do with this? Like, if they assume this body, and are they gonna find anything? Did you have anything to do with this? And he said no. But I mean, I don't know if that was true or not. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. And the reason I ask is because, let's say if my wife gets a call and they say one of her friends is being exhumed, that wouldn't be a question I would ask my wife is, did you have anything to do with this? That wouldn't even cross my mind. Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
would be more like, hey, we're telling you it's getting exhumed.
Right.
Information wise, this is what's going on. So that's why I wanted you to maybe expand a little bit on maybe why you thought or suspected Chad and Lori may have done something to Tammy, or that maybe Alex had known about something or had done something.
So remember that they were saying that Tammy had become a zombie.
She goes on to talk about how, they had told her that Tammy was supposed to die on this road trip to Utah. But then they said, oh, she didn't actually die in the car crash that she was supposed to have. Zombies killed her by taking over her body. I still can't get over this whole zombie thing, that people talk about this like this is just a normal thing. So weird still. Still weird.
Remember that?
Yep.
And they were talking. I don't know who was saying who, because they always like, oh, I was told. Lori would say, I was told, and then Chad would say very little, and then it was kind of communicated through her. So it's kind of hard to tell who the information was coming from. But they were saying that Tammy was supposed to died on her trip to Utah. She was supposed to have he had seen it in a vision that she was going to die in a car accident in the way there, or something was going to happen that she was going to pass away.
Okay.
And then when she didn't pass away, then what they were saying was that she actually did pass away, but what happened was that she was taken over by an evil spirit, and then they were that she had become a zombie. Okay, so in the back of my mind, here I am thinking, okay, they said the same thing about Charles, right? And then Charles ended up being shot, right? I'm thinking, okay, you guys are not trying to say that you guys are going to do something physically to people who are, who are turning into zombies, according to them. That was my thought.
So refresh my memory again. What was Alex's response to your question to him?
So he sat back and in the back, and pressed his back towards, like, back of the bed, the headboard, and he goes, no, that's it. There's no answer after that. Nothing else. I was waiting for him to say something else, and I'm like, so, like, okay. I'm like, are you going to say anything else? And he's like, no. Like, okay. So I thought when he seemed so sure of his answer, I was like, well, okay, well, then he didn't have anything to do with this.
Okay. And is that the same conversation that's the same conversation you kind of got after, right? And we're pretty, maybe forceful is not the right word, but aggressive towards him as far as, tell me what's going on. Is that the
Yeah,
same
because
conversation?
that was when because right after so then I pressed for another answer, and he tells me no, right? So then then I stand up and I start walking away because I'm like, I don't know what to think at this point.
Then she's like, Alex said that he thinks that he might be their fall guy. And Zulema's like, fall guy for what? Okay, all this stuff is really interesting because everything we have speculated and thought about has kind of come true in this conversation. All these people are involved in one way, shape, or form, or have more knowledge than they're giving out. We know that Zulema has use immunity. For what? Might be some of this information.
And that's when he said, I think I am being their fall guy. And I'm like, the fall guy for what? What is it? Tell me. What is it that they're trying to pin on you? What did they do? And he just wouldn't say anything else. And then, so then I get frustrated again because he's not answering my questions. So I turn around and I'm going to walk away again, because I'm just so frustrated that he's not saying anything. And that's when he tells me, either I am a man of God or I am not.
Okay.
Now, at the time, because I turned around and I said, what does that mean? What does that mean, Alex? Tell me, what does that mean? It's like, you can't just tell me these things and not say anything to me. And I was so frustrated with him, so mad, really, because he wasn't saying anything else to me. And that, I guilted. I thought for sure that I had probably given him a heart attack because I was, kind of pouncing on him, Now putting it all back, and now I understand that, they were probably telling him to blessings to do certain things, and he in his mind was either I'm following what God is telling me or I am not.
Did you have a question about that? Right?
No.
I thought I saw you writing something down. Okay. So after he had said that, I think I'm going to be the fall guy.
I think I'm going to be
Their fall guy. Did you think that Chad and Lori had done something to Tammy? Was that your impression based on that statement?
She didn't know what to think at the time. She thought Chad and Lori were extremely spiritual and good people, in so many words, right? She didn't know what to think about the whole Tammy's body being exhumed.
I didn't know what to think at the time. I didn't know what to think. It was so confusing for me at the time because I saw at the time I still saw Lori and Chad as a very spiritual, kind, loving, charming, law-abiding, God-fearing people.
Okay.
So there was to me, it would be like, you know what I mean? So even when he said that, I was like, the fall guy for what? Like, what was it? What is going on? You know what I mean? And like, I couldn't even process it or put two and two together. What is it? So what was it that they would do?
Okay.
I mean, these things didn't even come together for me until like months and months and months of me thinking and processing and putting things together. You know what I mean?
And then Zulema says she really believed that the children were hiding somewhere, that she did not even think that they could be dead. She thought that the kids were put away in hiding somewhere.
Because to tell you the truth, until they found the remains of the children, I still thought that there was a possibility that they had them hiding somewhere, that the kids were going to be alive.
That's what we all hoped too.
I really believed that they had them hiding somewhere. I believed them. I really did. That's what they were saying, that they were keeping them safe.
So then she goes into this whole thing about Alex was with Melanie Boudreau-Pawlowski, and they were working on making code words. Code words meaning it's safe to talk or it's not safe to talk.
So on these conference calls with you and Chad and Lori, and then there was Melanie and Ian, you guys talk about a code word to make sure it's safe to talk. Do you remember talking about that with them?
Yeah, because remember I told you that the day that Alex and I were going to Vegas, that day when I got back from the spa, he wasn't in the house. And so then I called him and I said, "Hey, where are you at?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm in the walkway, the green field behind the house with Gibb and Melly." So he's like, "Just come out back here and meet us back here." So when I got to where they were at, that's what they were talking about. They were making a code word to say, this is safe to talk, this is not safe to talk.
Do you remember what the words were?
So it was pretty bird, and the other one was not happy Bob.
Not happy Bob. So which one meant it was okay to talk? Pretty bird?
I think it's the opposite. I think that pretty bird was not.
Okay.
And then not happy Bob meant it was okay.
Not happy Bob. Meant it was okay. Okay.
Again, they go into this weird stuff about the phone calls, how secret squirrel these phone calls were. It'd be Chad's number, it'd be Lori's number, and then they'd have to conference and other people.
So whose phone number did you call when because they would call you from Ian's phone? Whose phone number would you call to conference everybody through?
I think they had so many numbers.
Yeah, they did have a lot. And that's kind of what we're trying to figure out is whose phone you were calling to conference everybody in together. Because every time they would call you, and then you would do the calling.
I think so. Or I think sometimes we will call and they will call back. And sometimes they will call and they will answer and then three-way the other person. I think it was a couple of times it was Chad's phone And then I think a couple times it was the Lori's new phone number, or the last phone number known that we knew anyways.
Okay.
I think it was both of them. Off the top of my head, I couldn't remember which one it was.
Okay.
And I don't think that my phone records would go back that far.
Okay.
They probably do. The numbers too.
So a couple times to Chad and a couple times to Lori, just depending on who.
Yeah. Because a lot of times, they wouldn't answer. They just, I'm going to tell you about that ghosting that they would do. So a lot of times we would call one number and then they wouldn't answer, then we would call the other number, and sometimes they would answer, and sometimes we would call the other number again. So there was a lot of that calling and no answer, and then sometimes they would call back.
And that's when they lived in Hawaii.
Well, they were in Hawaii, but at the time.
Because that was after November.
Right.
26th.
Yeah. And I thought for sure that they were I thought they were somewhere in Utah or somewhere in there, because one time there was this conversation, and they were laughing because they said that Lori had gotten stuck in her car because of a storm, and she couldn't move in her car, and she had to spend some hours, or like part of the night or the whole night somewhere until she could actually get through the storm. So at the time I thought, in my mind I thought that it was like a snowstorm that she couldn't get through, and I thought, well, probably Utah, that's what I was thinking, but I don't know if it was a storm over there, or were they here still and before they left for Hawaii? I don't know.
Or were they telling you that to put you off? What was rather
Right.
maybe?
It's possible also. Yeah. Right. And that's one of the things that she would say would be, for your protection, we're not telling you where we're at. For your protection.
And the detective's like, Zulema, why were you the designated center of these phone calls? Why wouldn't it be Ian? Why wouldn't it be somebody else? Why were you the main connection in these phone calls?
So how come you were the designated, or how come you were always the one who would make the calls? How come it wouldn't be Ian or Melanie or anybody else within the group that would call Chad and Lori?
I don't know. I guess it was just kind of like kind of take over kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe. There was no really a particular reason why I would. It wasn't like a designation or anything like that.
Did everybody know their number in the group?
At that time, no, they didn't, because I remember one of those conversations. I remember that we put Melly on the phone, and I remember she just started crying and crying because they weren't answering calls, and that one of the numbers, I guess, wasn't working anymore. So she hadn't talked to them since they had left Rexburg.
And when you say Melly, that's Melanie Gibb.
Yeah. Because the way that they were part of the manipulation and part of that indoctrination and getting you to be part of this, needing them and being, close to them and stuff like that, was their constant offering you a blessing of comfort or offering you a blessing of something that was going to happen. So promising you something.
And she goes into this other thing about, they were always offering these blessings of comfort and blessings, clearly these people involved really thought that Chad and Lori were something special. It's pretty clear that they thought that Chad and Lori were truly the head of the 144,000. I don't know how you get there in your mind. I'm sorry. If someone told me that, I would be like, yeah, no, you lost your mind. But then again, I'm not. But then again, it's just not in any way, shape, or form the way that I was raised into my religion of being a Greek Orthodox Christian. We don't have any of these other type of belief systems where people are gods or people are more important than God or one person is more important than another. It just doesn't work that way in non-denominational Christian religions or in denominational Catholic or Orthodox Christians. It just doesn't work that way. So it's really hard for me to wrap my mind around it, and I don't understand the foundation of the LDS Church enough to understand how they could go there in their mind and believe that Lori and Chad were more important than the average peasant.
So it was almost as if when you get that on a constant basis all the time, and then all of a sudden you don't, it's almost as if you're like, whoa, what happened there? You know what I mean? All of a sudden you feel like, oh my goodness, I have no guidance now. You see that? And I believe that and I can't say how Melly was feeling at the time, but I would imagine that she was feeling like, she hadn't had any contact or anything from them since they left Rexburg. So I remember her being in tears having that conversation.
So kind of off what you said is when she was in tears and did she or anybody ask you for their numbers? If they, because they knew you had them, right? Because you were the one that was calling. So did they ever say, or after the conference call when you talked to Chad and Lori, did Alex or Melanie or Ian or anybody ask you, say, hey, well, can you forward me their number? I'd like to call them and talk to them. Or was it just you that solely had their?
No, they had their number too. They had their number. If I'm not mistaken, it's probably, I can't say for sure, but I'm thinking that it was probably given to Melly that day during the call.
During one of the conference calls?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't remember. I really don't know why that kind of became like a pattern. Yeah. Like, I mean, I didn't even see it as a pattern until until you're bringing it up. I didn't even realize that it had become a pattern like that. So, and it's possible that it was part of that, manipulation, part of that, you're the contact person kind of thing, or, putting you in this. This is one thing that now that we're talking about this, one of the things that they started saying to me from the beginning was that putting me in a position of being so special. And like Lori and Chad used to say to me often, your mission is the most important one. We have to take care of you more than we have to take care of anyone else, because your mission is most important and more important than anybody else's. They always said that to me from the beginning.
Okay.
And it was, Lori would say that sometimes when we would just get together, she would, say that, oh, everybody has to, make sure that you're praying and taking care of Zulema, because her mission is the most important.
Okay.
And if they had some pretty crazy plans, I mean, now it would make sense why.
Yeah.
That would be the most important thing. That's, that was part of the final plan.
So along those lines, with you being the most important mission, and I know we've talked about this a little bit as far as your marriage with Alex.
Then he comes out and asks them, did they somehow direct you to marry Alex Zulema? Did Chad and Lori organize this? Did Chad and Lori tell you that this was important for the two of you for some reason to be a married couple?
Was Chad or Lori directing you to marry Alex?
They were suggesting it, and they were saying that we should be together. Chad did give me a blessing one time, saying that I would get married again. And I remember telling him, I don't know about that. I'm like, I already told myself that I was never going to be married again, so I don't know about that. But I do have a feeling, even though I never heard it myself, I do have a feeling that they were probably saying that to Alex.
So did Chad or Lori ever tell you, as part of your mission, that you need to marry Alex? Or that part of your mission is marrying Alex?
So the way that they presented it was that in order for people to finish their missions, they always had to have somebody that was going to be equal in their, in their spirituality, equal to them, and that they were going to be a helper to complete that mission. So then they started saying, Alex would be part of that for you. He would be the person who would be able to help you with your mission, and he will be the supporter that you will need, and things like that.
So did you believe that in order for your mission to be complete, that you needed to marry Alex? Did you believe that?
I wasn't sure, to tell you the truth, if I really had a mission. I kind of took their word for what they were saying. They, like often they would say, okay, Zulema, we want you to do this. And I would go, okay. And I would just say a prayer or whatever. And then they would say, oh, Zulema, this is what you did. So it was never like I would be able, you know what I mean? Like, am I really doing any of this stuff? Or are they just like saying that because they were confirming it for me, or, stuff like that. So I had a lot of things that were in my mind that were like, I don't know about this. So it was a lot of, I used to tell them all the time, I'm putting that on the shelf until I can understand it, or until I have more information, or, or whatever, a prompting or something about that. And I kept, praying about, about Alex. And he was like, he was there, you know what I mean, from the beginning. He was like, I want a relationship, and I'm not messing around. He was like, I want to get married. And I mean, he was insistent about it. And I was like, no, wait, let's wait. No, I don't have an answer. I'm not sure about that. And I had my doubts, let me put it that way. I had my doubts. And then I kept praying and praying and praying. And then once Alex and I got to know each other a little bit better, and we started spending time together and talking to each other, I really started liking him. And the things I liked the most about him was that he was the kind of person that I could go deep conversations and deep discussions about the scriptures. And he knew the scriptures very well. And sometimes we would sit on the phone for like 2 hours discussing scriptures. And I'm like, I've never been able to do anything like that with anybody, much less, someone who was interested in me. You know what I mean? So when I went there, I think I went there in October, I think it was, around October 7th. He was ready to get married. He was like, he said that he had called, I guess another county where you could just go, kind of like Las Vegas type thing. You can just go and you can get your license and you can get married right away. And he was like, he was
Ready to go.
he was ready to go. And I was like, no, Alex, I'm like, I am not 100% sure that I want to do this. So I need to wait. And he's like, okay, we'll wait. As long as you want to, we'll wait. He wanted to, but he wasn't like pressuring me. You know what I mean? He just said that he was ready. And then when he was coming back down from Rexburg for when he was coming down for Thanksgiving, a couple of days, I think it was the day before he arrived. I was praying and I was asking, and I just got this feeling that, like, okay, I think that it's time for me to marry him.
And Zulema says, well, yeah, because they felt like together it would help their mission for them to be married, to be together. But she was like, I really think that Alex loved me. He did all these things for me. He would go run out to the store for me. He would go get me chips and salsa when I wanted chips and salsa. He was very attentive. He said, whatever you wish, something like that. And she felt like Alex was genuine. And Zulema says that she truly loved Alex.
So, do you think Alex was pressuring you because Chad and Lori wanted him to get married to you?
Mm-hmm. It's possible.
And this might be a tough question. Do you think Alex truly loved you, or was just doing it because Chad and Lori told him to?
I have asked that myself many times, and I don't know if someone could actually fake it that well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I didn't love somebody, I don't know if I could be that doting over that person. At least I couldn't fake it. Maybe he could. And if he could fake it, then he was a really good faker. Okay? Because he was like, he doted over me. And maybe that's one of the things that they told him to do. Maybe that's what maybe that was his orders that they had given him, was for him to be doting over me. But he would, like, from the minute that he got up until he went to bed, he made sure that I was happy, that I was taken care of, that I had everything. Like I told you, one day I was like, what sounds really good right now, Alex? He's like, what? I was like, salsa and chips. And he got up and he picked up his kids and goes, I'll be right back. And he was out the door. He went and got me chips and salsa, and he came back. He goes, here you go. And he would say all the time, as you wish. As you wish. So I don't know. It is a possibility that, yes, he could have taken that, yes. So it had to be a really, really good faker.
Were you in love with him when you got married, or were you doing it because Chad and Lori?
I loved him. I loved Alex very much.
And then they go into some conversation about the fact that Zulema's son-in-law wanted her to have an attorney. It's just that conversation about that Zulema's son-in-law wanted her to have an attorney for some reason, and they're trying to figure out why you felt like you need an attorney. And she's like, oh, my son-in-law had some legal problems recently, so he was just really worried about that kind of stuff.
I'm just gonna go back on a couple questions on this. Before we stopped the first time, we were in the hospital with Alex, and I think it was Chandler or Gilbert that was in there. Gilbert police in the hospital as well. Your son-in-law said that he has an attorney now, so if you want to talk to us, talk to the attorney. What did he need an attorney for at that time?
You mean what did he need an attorney, or what
No,
did he need an attorney?
and I might have misunderstood you before Derek stepped out the first time. You were telling Ray once Alex was in the hospital, you were there, and I believe your son-in-law was there, and the Gilbert police were asking something, and he mentioned to him that either he has an attorney or there's an attorney for Alex, so talk to the attorney now. Was he talking about Alex having an attorney at that time, or was he talking about himself having an attorney? Does that make sense?
Yes, so he was talking about, he was saying that his attorney, to talk to his attorney because he was going to be representing me from then on.
Talk to Alex's attorney?
No,
Or
to my son-in-law's attorney.
Okay, why would he need an attorney? I guess is what I'm asking.
Why
Yeah.
did he have an attorney?
Yeah, why would he need one at that time?
So what happened was that my son-in-law came out of a parking lot from I think it was.
Let me cut you off and tell the story. I don't think he cares why your son-in-law knew the attorney. Did your son-in-law need an attorney under this investigation?
Under this, no, not under this investigation.
Okay,
It
so
was
the
for
police
something
attorney
else.
For her.
Oh.
He contacted an attorney that he knew for her.
Okay,
Yes.
and I guess that's what I'm getting at. Why did you feel you needed an attorney at that time?
I didn't. He felt that I
He
did.
felt, okay, all right, that's what I was, sorry if that was confusing.
I was so out of it at the time. I didn't
Yeah, there's
even
a lot going
know.
on.
I didn't know what was coming or going, and he was adamant. He was like, nope, you are not speaking to the police without an attorney. And then I remember when I got home, they tried to interrogate me again. This time they said that they were going to separate me and the kids and interrogate us again. And then again, my son-in-law called and said, your attorney is going to be calling
Gotcha.
the person, and said, just because he had taken me to his car, and so he's like, just get out of the car, tell him that he needs to talk to your attorney, go inside, tell the kids that you're not answering any more questions, and that to talk to the attorney from now on. So I went inside and I told the kids that.
Was there a reason why he thought you needed an attorney? If you know, or was it just, if you knew, because you know?
He had had a really bad experience with the police just prior to that. That's the reason why he knew that. A really bad experience. And he just
Didn't trust police. During the time when you talked to Lori and Chad, and Melanie, did you ever have any other phones? Or did you always just have your one phone? And the reason why I ask this is because throughout this whole investigation, there's been throw phones over here, throw phones over there. You mentioned throw phones last time you and I spoke here. Did you ever have any other phones or phone numbers?
No.
Okay.
This is the only phone I ever had. Wait, I did get a phone, like I told you guys, the day that Alex died, because the police took my phone and I needed to have a phone until they returned it.
Okay.
So,
Then he asked them, why did Chad and Lori think that code words were necessary? What was so secret squirrel that they had to have code words?
And I might have been dozing off or something. We might have already talked about this. Well, I know we talked about the code words and all that. When would you need to use code words, and why did Chad and Lori think that code words were necessary?
So Zulema goes into the whole levels of light and dark and high level and low level, and it was important to have code words based on that.
so the way that they had expressed it was because, you were a high level 6, dark person. And so
I'm
was
sure you
your,
would have too, I mean, that's just.
Oh, yeah,
and so was your partner, right?
I'd be his boss.
And you guys were seeking their destruction. And you guys were working with Kate, seeking their destruction. And they needed to have protection because, they were saying that the kids were safe and they had them in a safe place. So, in order for them to be safe from you and your UK and your partners, because you were all very high level dark people.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
They ask her to look up a phone number in her phone because they're trying to figure out who this one phone number belonged to, and as she's looking, she can't figure that one out.
Do you mind looking in your phone to see if I've got a number, and I was wondering if it might match up to someone you might know.
Okay?
It's 602-290-7288.
602-290?
Yeah.
Nothing comes up. But for some reason, that 290, isn't that part of Alex's number?
It's in your phone, it should populate.
Yeah.
I know what to do. See, there's a lot of stuff that my granddaughter got a hold of that phone that I had during those,
Everything.
and I don't know if you knew this, but I didn't know this, that if your phone and your old phone are connected to the same Wi-Fi, that if you do something on the old phone, it will show up on your new phone.
Gotcha.
So she deleted like
Deleted all that.
hundreds and hundreds of phone numbers
Oh,
on
no.
my phone. I'm still trying to recoup them, so.
Do you still have Chad in your phone at all?
I think so.
What do you have his numbers?
He had one that he kept all the time. Let me see if it's still there. No, it's not. Okay, let me see if I can find it under my text. See if that's one of the ones that got deleted. Okay, I have 208-690-9374.
Okay. Was that the only one?
I'm looking, let's see if there is any other one. I don't see another one.
Okay. I know, throughout all this, looking into stuff, Chad went by another name, Raphael. Do you have that in your phone by chance?
Oh, let me see. Maybe. No, you don't. But,
Does that ring a bell with you though, the Raphael?
mm-hmm. But I remember he had changed the number, and Alex asked me for it, and his number was 602-290-7288. Is that the one that you were just asking me for?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
That's
whose is it?
Chad.
That's Chad. And Alex texted you that.
Yes.
When did he text you that? Do you still have that?
He texted me that on December 5th.
Okay.
So on Zulema, on a couple of those recordings, you referred to Chad as Raphael. Is that what you called him normally, or did you normally call him Chad?
I would call him Chad.
Chad.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you call him? Sometimes you just call him Raphael. Because on one of those you say, "Let me call Raphael's calling through." Is that just sometimes you would call him that, or
Yeah, yes,
during
sometimes.
certain times?
I think that Alex used to call him Raphael a lot. So if I was saying something like that, it's probably because Alex was with me, because he would call him that.
Gotcha.
So
Well, you still had it in your phone. That's good. The number.
yeah, I mean, I don't have that particular number in my text or in my phone, but I remember him asking me for the number, and I remember me saying, Raphael just reached out to me and he has a new number
Oh, nice. And that was on the 5th of December?
on the 4th.
Oh, 4th.
And
Okay.
then Alex asked me for it on the 5th.
Gotcha.
And then on the 6th, I remember he went and got pizza for all of us to have dinner. And then on the 7th, he went to Mexico.
Okay.
And came back sick.
I was just doing follow up on that. Did you have any more?
Do you still have some?
And the detective says again to Zulema, Chad and Lori could be trying to throw everybody else under the bus. So it's really important that you are honest here, because you might get in trouble, basically, is what he's making her try to understand.
No.
Yeah, Zulema, we appreciate it. I know you hate to talk about this stuff, and
I want to help.
and we appreciate it. And that's why, I don't know what the defense plan is gonna be with Chad and Lori. It could be that they try to throw everybody else under the bus, and they try to use different things or say different things. That's why it's super important if you can remember anything. That way we can get out in front of it before defense has a chance
Get it. And
to get it and
Garrett knows that.
understand.
your
So-
attorney knows that right now.
We just want to make sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's with everything, that way we can come out in front of it.
Then she talks about this pair of scissors that she has of Lori's. Really strange that Lori gave her this $1,000 pair of scissors. Was this used? Was this a weapon? This whole thing is really weird to me, this whole scissor thing. And that Lori gave her these scissors, but she had taken them on the plane, but now she says she can't take them again. They go into saying, well, maybe she checked them the first time. I don't know. But it's kind of bizarre. Were these scissors a weapon? In my opinion, I'm thinking that they may have been used in something nefarious, because why is she giving Zulema this really expensive pair of scissors? I didn't know you could get scissors for $1,000, FYI. Crazy. But anyway, that was a little bit weird here and really interesting.
You guys, I still have those pair of scissors in my house, right?
Oh, Lori's
Lori's
scissors.
that are $100 and something or $300 and something.
$1,000.
That's way up.
Serious scissors.
But yeah, like Ray said, we appreciate it.
I always have that feeling that there was something really nefarious about her giving me those scissors. I still do.
And she gave them to you when she came home from Hawaii, right? When you met him and
When they had just gone back for getting married.
the layover or whatever.
Yep. And for some strange reason, in my mind, because I'm trusting people, in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, she can't take him on the plane with her, so And then my daughter said, Mom, she just got off of a plane with her. Why couldn't she take him back on the plane with her?
Well, let me do some checking. Maybe do you want them, or do you?
I don't want to have anything to do.
I mean, maybe we could just.
It's just really, it's so bizarre. Why would she hand me those things? It makes absolutely no sense for her to hand
I
me
wonder
those
how she got on the plane with him in the first place, and then didn't want him to go.
Did she
on
check
another
bags, do you know? Because they could be in check bags.
Yeah.
things.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Then, what I find most interesting in this entire interview is how she points out that Alex was a massage therapist. And Alex told her the day after they get married that he wanted to give her a massage. So he wants them to go to Walmart, buy this plastic that covers the entire bed, and give her a massage. He gives her a massage and she falls into a deep sleep. She starts to wake up, and she said it was really hard for her to wake up.
Is there a check bag, or it could have been missed, Lots of possible explanations.
And the other thing that I remember that I was telling Garrett was that when we were in Vegas, I don't know if you guys knew, but Alex was a massage therapist, and my back was bugging me, and after the trip there in the car, and he said, he's like, I'll just give you a massage and just fix your back. I'm like, okay. So, but for some strange reason, this is really weird. Like, for some strange reason, at the time, of course, I didn't think anything about it, but now I'm like all creeped out about it. He said that we needed to find a Walmart because he wanted to buy this big, huge piece of plastic to put on the bed so the oil didn't get on the bed. But it was one of those ones that you put on the floor when you paint, okay? And we went to Walmart and we got it, and he put it on the bed.
And this is when you were in Vegas?
When we were in Vegas, yeah, it was the day after we got married.
So you put it on the bed?
Yeah.
And he gave you the massage, and then what
And
did you do?
the weirdest thing about it was that, and this is when it gets even weirder, because after that, I fell asleep. Okay, so I was so relaxed after the massage. I was so relaxed, fell asleep, and then I remember waking up. I was in and out, and I could hear him talking.
And she says, Alex was talking to somebody. I could hear him talking to somebody, and I couldn't wake myself up.
And I was like, who's he talking to? And I kept like trying to wake up, and finally I made myself wake up, and I'm like, Alex. I'm like, who are you talking to? He's like, nobody. I was talking to myself. I'm like, okay. So then,
And then she says his whole demeanor, his whole way he normally is, was quiet for the rest of the night.
I remember I took a bath, and I said, let's watch a movie. And he was like, he was on his phone, I think playing his game or something. And he was like super quiet. totally eerie for Alex because Alex usually like, he was like joking and he would like, you would say something and he would find one way or another to make it into a joke and make it funny. And like, he was always making you laugh and laughing at himself or making a joke about something. But he said nothing for the rest of the evening.
And Zulema thinks maybe that was supposed to be my last day on Earth. Thinking back, like maybe Alex was supposed to kill Zulema. How this fits into the whole thing, I don't know, but nothing, absolutely nothing would surprise me.
Nothing.
Well, that's really weird that he had you lay on plastic.
So maybe I'm just a little too crazy now because of all the stuff that's happened, but in my back of my mind, I keep thinking that who was on the phone was Chad and Lori, and that was supposed to be my last day, and he was supposed to.
And it very well could have been. When you woke up, did you feel normal? I mean, did you feel like, when you said you were in and out of consciousness, like you were trying to wake up or you didn't feel right?
Like I was really down, like I was really, really like one of those ones when you're like trying to wake up and you can't wake up kind of thing. Like I was thinking, why am I so relaxed and I can't wake up?
Because that is pretty weird that he needed to cover the whole bag. What was in that oil that he massaged her with? Was there something that put her down lower than she should have been? The way she talks is she was in a kind of a deeper sleep than a normal afternoon nap. She said she had a hard time waking up, and he was talking to somebody in the bathroom.
Kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Did you feel drugged?
Drowsy, like just I was kind of like really like drowsy. I was like,
What time of day was it?
In the middle of the afternoon.
Did he give you anything to drink before that? Or make you a drink or fix you anything to eat?
I don't know. I mean, I remember us going to get something to eat, and then we came back to the hotel, and I remember we did have some drinks with us. Like, you know, I don't know, maybe I might have had like a, no, I didn't have a Red Bull that day. I had something with me, might have been a water or something, I don't know, with me. Like, I always use the little cup, and you know, I didn't like to use the little glasses, so I always had my glass with ice and whatever it was that I was drinking at the time.
So did he give you a massage? I mean, did you have oil on
Not enough to
use?
Warrant the drop cloth.
what I dropped off, you know what I mean? It just didn't. At the time, I had no question about it. Now I'm like, why would you necessitate a whole drop cloth all over the bed to give me a massage? That just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
So did.
And then the fact that he was quiet for the rest, that he said nothing, like nothing after that. He was quiet, and like that's so not Alex. Alex is not quiet.
So did you ever ask him like, man, why did we need all that, or what?
No.
And so you heard him talking to somebody.
Mm-hmm. And I believed him, and he was talking to himself, you know, at the time. You know what I mean? Trusting him completely.
And that was right after you guys were married.
The day after. Yeah, it's really weird.
It is super weird.
It's super weird, especially because he wasn't talking. And I even asked him, I said, are you okay? Like you're so quiet, you're usually not quiet like this. He's like, I'm just tired. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I'm gonna leave you alone then so you can rest. So I left him alone. He didn't say anything else. So I ended up like, she never got a permit. I was having to keep some stuff during the game at the Kingston.
And it's little things like that that we're super interested in. So if anything like that comes to you again, something that you may think is super small, please let Garrett
Yeah,
know or
We'll communicate it to you for sure.
That was super weird.
let us know. Yeah, just little things like that that help us put pieces together. Was that the only time that happened?
Had he given you massages before?
Did he since then?
No.
So that was the one time he offered to give him a massage.
When we would get together, sometimes he would come, and he would put his fingers on my neck and go, he would say, what is it with you people, translated people that have such big, stressful shoulders or something like that. He would say that, but I wasn't the only one that was receiving it. He would do it to everybody else, just kind of like relax the neck. And then when we got back from Vegas and we were at my house, sometimes in the morning I have a really hard time waking up. And then in the mornings I would like turn my alarm off and just sit there trying to like get up. And I remember he would like wrap his finger like up and down my back and go, you can get up, you can wake up, kind of thing, like kind of waking me up, and not a massage like he did that day.
So when you woke up from that massage, did you feel like you were way too groggy than you should have been?
I was
Or
super, I thought, I'm like, oh my goodness, he's like, must be a really good, massage therapist, because I am so relaxed right now. Like I am like so relaxed. Like I felt like, like when you get out of like the sauna, when you get out of the sauna, you're like so relaxed, you could actually take a nap.
So you didn't feel out of it?
No,
It was just relaxed.
very relaxed. Yeah, like super. What was really weird though was that in and out that I had when I was laying on the bed, because I could hear him talking and I was trying to wake up, but I kept going back down, and then I kept hearing him again talking, and I couldn't discern what he was saying. I could just hear him talking, and he was in the bathroom talking.
He kind of talks to himself much?
Well, not really. Not like that. Like he was actually having a conversation. Like he sounded like he was having a conversation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when I talk to myself, I'm always like, say one thing or two things. Or
I think I'll go to McDonald's for lunch.
yeah, something like that. But
No,
no,
that's because it's Wendy's, you have
he was having a conversation. So it, now of course putting all this together and processing after, over a year, I keep thinking that he was actually on the phone with somebody when this was happening. There was no way that he was going to necessitate a big old drop cloth for that bed to give me a massage.
When you guys got married or prior to get married, did you guys talk about insurance or life insurance or did you add him to anything or did he add you to anything?
No, that I know of. I know a couple people have asked me that too. But I wasn't the one that I wouldn't have had any knowledge of that, but Lori would.
Okay.
Because Charles was in that business. So
We're here till Saturday, so if you want to give us those scissors, we'll be more than happy to take them off your hands. You just lock them into evidence.
Okay.
If you don't want
no, I
them,
don't.
we can take them.
You don't need meetings, bring them by here anytime.
That would be great.
Mhm.
We'll be here till Saturday morning,
Yeah, I think so.
so anytime between them would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah, I'll just bring them over because I think tomorrow is my report day, so I don't have any cases tomorrow, so I'll just drop them off sometime tomorrow. Maybe I'll
Awesome.
just make it into my lunch hour so I can get a nice little break from
There
being
you
at
go.
the computer for
Enjoy the
15
nice
hours.
warm weather. Zulema, do you have any questions for us? Anything we can answer? Anything at
I
all?
have a lot of questions.
Well,
A lot of questions. You know, I have a question on, you know, on this people's sanity. You know, I was asked myself whether it's because these people are insane or because they're just led by evil, you know. Now I'm putting all the things together. I just really, more than ever, at the beginning I had a feeling that they had a really nefarious plan to do something to me and to Alex, or that we were the final piece, that I was the final piece to move to Rexburg. And I feel that, you know, by the grace of God, I didn't move there. And I always feel that kind of like dodged the bullet by not moving there. And if I would have moved there, things would be very different today.
probably.
I always thought, and now more than ever, I think that they had, and of course the question is in my mind about, you know, was Alex being true? Was he lying? Was he being told to do what to do? Did he really have a relationship with me because he just was following what Chad and Lori were telling him? You know what I mean? All that. And at that time in Vegas, was he supposed to kill me that day? You know, was he being instructed to do that? And I always think like, okay, he couldn't go through, you know, killing me, but then it's a possibility that he would have gone through to kill himself. So, all that, you know, I have a lot of questions.
That's a lot to weigh on your mind.
So,
Well,
and I'm sorry, I can't remember much of that night that Alex passed away. I just don't, I can't even put what happens first and what happened that time at the hospital. Can't remember much.
well, like I said, if you have questions or you want to reach out or something, go through Garrett, or
Always.
you still have my card.
I do, yep. I've got you in my phone. So, I mean, I have the card, but I've got you in my phone, so better than the card. That's it. Cool.
Okay, well, thank
We
you
appreciate
again.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you again.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
glad
you
you guys got to
too. Good to
enjoy
see you.
April and Phoenix.
Yeah. Well, and you got us to go see a Diamondbacks game. So
Yeah.
we're-
Next time, you
Oh,
guys
good.
gotta go to the pool.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys still on track for July?
I'm not sure. Probably not.
Yeah. We were talking about that. I said, I would be surprised if it weren't.
And that's pretty much where this interview ends. And I find it really, really interesting. And I can't wait to go through Melanie Gibb's interview, because I think that's going to be even more interesting from what I'm hearing. I have not gone through it yet because I've been working on these, but we will. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel. And also, if you're old or new, please hit the like button. You know it helps my channel grow. Thank you for watching Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. I'm Kathryn. Stay safe, stay well,